Morning everyone. This is Mr. Ndabezita, and I want us to look at Python. And this would be the very first time we look into Python. And unfortunately, we will not have some time to go and look at many other things which will form the basics of this tutorial. But I will assume that you already understand what Python is all about, and I will ensure that as I continue in this tutorial, wherever there is a need to explain something, I will try by all means to do so. So what is it that we are going to look at? We are going to look in this tutorial at the class and the methods and the attributes of a class. We're just going to have a very simple basic tutorial as the very first introduction to classes in Python. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is to declare a class by using the Python reserved keyword, which is a class, and then you give your class a name. So let us try to give this class a name. Since we will be dealing with a person object, let's say the name of the class is a person. So this would be the name of the class. And what else do we think that we will need inside of a class? We will need some attributes. It is highly important that when you declare a class and you give it a name, you should have those colons there. And as you can see, the indentation, immediately when you press enter here, it doesn't indent at the beginning in here. There's a very good reason for that, and we will see why. So when you press enter, it will indent exactly there. And inside of a class, we are going to have some few attributes, some few fields or members of a class. Now the very first one, you just give it a name, and if you want to immediately assign it a value, you can assign it a value using single quotes, or you can assign it a value using double quotes. The choice is yours. So I'm going to have a name and say the name of the person, it's Ndabezit. So this would be the name of the individual, and the individual has an age field associated with this person. So the age of the person, let's say the age of this individual, it's 45. So this would be the age of the individual. So what is it that we want to do inside of this class? I should have a method inside of the class that would be able to print out the information of this particular individual. So let me just have that. Now, in order to have a function or a method, but let's use the term function in Python, you use the reserved keyword def. And what does def do? It defines a function, and this function has to have a name. So let's just say the person will introduce himself. So let's just say introduce yourself. This would be the name of the method. Now remember, as we know, the method has to have a certain number of parameters, and if there are no parameters, we're going to leave this as a none. But we are going to have a problem in here that we will resolve. So this is just a method that accepts no arguments, and then what does it do? It prints out something. So let's have a print, and I can use single quotes or double quotes. The choice is yours, but I think we're going to do it in both ways so that we can see the difference. Now in here I'm going to say I am let me get rid of that one. So we are going to have some problems in here because this I'm trying to make an opening and a closing quote in there. So let me just say I am, and then I'm going to use concatenation, and immediately when you do that you are having some problems. So because I want to have this single quote in I am, so I'm going to change all this and use double quotes so that I can say I am and then use concatenation, and then I'm going to say name plus, and I'm going to have some string. So that would say I am Ndabezitha and I am concatenation age. I am a certain years old. So suppose this is just the output that we want to have, and this is just a method. So I know in order to get hold of the method I need to use an object of this person's class. So in Python, in order to have an object, you give your object a name. So let's just say this is a person object, and I'm going to equate this to the name of the class. And we have a class that accepts no arguments. Remember, I don't have any constructor that accepts any arguments in there. I did not create that constructor, but a default one will be created for me. And via the object I can be able to access the method. So how do I do that? You use the object name dot, and when you press the dot there, you are having access to the age and the name and the method in there. But there are some few problems. Let us see these red, which signifies that there is a problem. What does it mean? It says there the method must have a first parameter, usually called self. Now, because this function that you are having, this method that you have defined, does not accept any arguments, because this is a class and you are going to have access to this method using an object, you must provide in your method at least one argument or one parameter. And because it returns void, it does not accept any argument, therefore the self that you will define inside there as the first argument will reference to the object that you have created. So let's add this self in here. So let's add this. Now self will reference to the object that you have created in your class. And when this class has a default constructor that accepts no argument, and you equate an object to the name of the class, not the class to the object. Very important that we understand that. So self will reference to the object in here. Now, secondly, I'm having a problem with name and age. And what causes this? Let's see if we can get a potential fix on this. So I'm going to come here and import this name. So is this what we want to do? So it says show us some of the imports. No, we don't want to import this. So what is happening in here? In order for me to have access to the name and the age inside of your method, you must use the self keyword there. and self, remember, references to the object. So the object will give you access to the name, and the object will give you access to the age. So when you come here and you say self, let me show you something, and you press the dot there, you see? So self gives you access to the fields, the members that you have, the attributes name. So why does it do that? It is because via the object you will have access to your members. Very, very important. You can't just come here and say age or name. You have to have access to that via the object. Very, very important. So I can come here and say self dot, and I will have access to the age there. But there is a warning for us there, because this is a string and everything in Python is a string. The default is a string, and here you are having an int, and now there is a problem in here, and then it says unexpected type int, and then the possible type should be a string. Very, very important. So in other words, Python cannot convert an int into a string. You need to fix this, because if you don't, you will come across a problem. Let's see whether we will come across a problem. I'm going to run this using Control and F5. And let us see what is going. Oh, sorry, I have not yet called the method. So what I'm going to do, no, the method is there, which is introduce yourself. So let me just try to press the play button and see what is going to happen in here. It says the process main is running. So this is already running, and let's see what is happening in here. Okay, let me just stop this, and let me just run it for the second time, and we are having a problem. There is an error that was thrown. Right, where did the error occur? In line 7. So person object dot introduce yourself, okay, and then the problem also occurred in line 5. So what is wrong in line 5? Right, let's go a little bit deeper into this. Type of error can only concat or concatenate a string, not an int to a string. So here, because we are using concatenate sign, we are trying to concatenate an int into a string, and this is not possible in this way. A way to get around this is not to concat in here. What you can do is to use a comma there, and when you use a comma there, you can see now that the problem is now gone. So what we can do there, let me just do this. When we try to run this, our code is having a problem once again. And what causes this problem? Let's look what is causing the problem. We come here, and then it said expected type int got a string instead. So we are having a problem there. So even in here, we need to use a comma. Very, very important, guys, that we try to understand this. So before the age, self.age, if you are having a comma, you must also have a comma afterwards. And let us try to run this and see. Now everything seems to be fine. I'm Ndabezitha and I am 45 years old. So the printout was successful. This is one way of getting rid of this problem. Another way, because there are no calculations or anything that needs to be done on your age, you can represent your age as a string like this. And when you use your age as a string, then we can use concatenation in here. So it will not have a problem because your age by default is now a string. And everything works fine just as we have saw. Very, very important. Now, what if I want to use some format specifiers in here? I don't want to have these, I don't want a printout of this nature. The other way we can do this is to have a print, and you can have your double quotes, and you will have your F just outside of your double quotes, and you can say I am, and you can use double curly braces, and you can say self dot name, I am Ndabezitha, and I am self dot age years old. So this is one way of doing this. But will we not have a problem with this? No, we will not, because this is a string. And we can run this and we will have exactly the same output. Right. But if this is an int, let me show you, we will have some problems in here. Let us check whether we will have some problems or not. So I'm going to comment the first one, and I'm going to run the second one. And I'm not having any problem in here. I am Ndabezitha and I am 45 years old. So when I use a format specifier there, it will be able to allow me to print my age as an int there. And there is no conversion that is required. Very important. So let me just copy this and oh, sorry, there's a problem. Let me copy this and let me come here. What has transpired? So I'm saying let me copy this and paste. Very good. So what is it that I want to do also? If I do not want to use the format specifiers in here, for example, and I want to have this, let me just show you this. So I can come here and I can still use my concat. I can have my self.name. This is one way of doing this. I can say self.name and I am. I can come here, and what I can do there, I can have my concat in there. So I'm having I am plus self.name, very important, plus, so let me do this, and I am a certain years old. But there is a problem there. So let me just do this and just say so let me, oh sorry, You see where the problem is? We have to indent there. We must indent. So I can just say, is the indentation correct? Let me go that side. So let me have self. We are having some problem. So the indentation, very good. So you see how important that indentation is. So let me just say self dot name. I don't have a problem with that, but I know I will have a problem with this one. So what I can do in here, I can put this inside of the brackets and have an int there. And what is it that I'm saying there? I am converting, I am allowing this to say, I'm converting my age as an int so that it can be able to print that out as an int. So I can try to run this, and when I try to run that, I'm having a problem. So it will not be able to allow you to concatenate an int, only a string, so you cannot solve this. So those are the other potential ways that I've shown you in which you can be able to get rid of that error. So even if you are trying to convert already that which is an int, it won't help you with anything. You just have to find other means of dealing with that. So you can use a format specifier as we have shown, or you can write your age as a string. So these are the possibilities that you should know. So even if you come here, it will not work. It cannot concat an int into a string. Very, very important that we understand that. So this is one way of looking at this. I can have my own attributes in there. I can have a method and I can print whatever that I want to print in here. However, I can have the very same print out without even having to have these attributes. So let me show you what I mean by that. I can get rid of all this. I can get rid of this, and I can have my person object in here. Let me indent. Right, what I can do in here, I can have this print and I can say I am, and I can use let me have format specifiers for now. I can say I am, and I can say self dot name, very important. I am Samuel, and I am self dot age. I am Samuel and I am 45 years old. But if I do this, self needs to go inside of your instance and find name and find age. So what I can do in here, I can say person object dot name, and I can assign it a value of Samuel, and I can go to person object dot age, and I can assign it a value of 45. Now it will be able to print this out, because remember, self references to your object. It will find that name, put it there, age, put it there, and I can run this and I can have an output without even having to have the attributes inside of this class. So the very same output can be achieved. But this is not good if for example you will be using inheritance and you want to have access to the attributes in order to use them somewhere else. But just in this basic first tutorial that we have, we can do this. We can highly do this. And as you can see, everything just prints out fine. There is no problem in this. So this is just a simple basic tutorial that I wanted us to share with you guys. I hope you have seen how to declare a class in Python, how to use the methods, what the def means, and why indentation is very important, how to create an instance, how to have your attributes, and how to use all these attributes in order to have what you want to have, and then how to access your methods inside of your instance. Very important that we understand it. So this was just a very simple basic tutorial that I wanted to share with you. Allow ourselves to make mistakes and see how we can correct those mistakes. So this is Papa Fanzo. Remember, this is Mlojwa himself. Please do share, like, and subscribe for many more to come.